There are questions in life that reason cannot answer, questions that only experience can illuminate. Sometimes, those experiences come from the deepest wells of human suffering, despair, and even death. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl is such a work. It is not merely a book. It is a whisper from a soul that has walked through the inferno of Nazi concentration camps and emerged with burning insight. That meaning can exist even in the most unimaginable darkness. Frankl does not write to shock or to complain. He writes to prove a quiet truth. Even in the face of the most brutal circumstances, human beings can choose their attitude, find a purpose, and hold on to a reason to go on. His book is a remarkable fusion of memoir and psychology, where each page offers not just a record of the past, but a path for healing and purposeful living in the present. Written in just 9 days after being liberated from the camps, the book bears no trace of hatred or self-pity. On the contrary, it is filled with a deep compassion, humility, and a wisdom that transcends conventional theories. Frankl had no intention of gaining fame. He simply wanted to share one powerful message. Life always holds potential meaning, even amid suffering. The first part of the book plunges us into Auschwitz, where identity is stripped away and human beings are reduced to mere numbers. Frankl doesn't dramatize. He observes. He explores the psychology of a prisoner whose life has been reduced to the barest level of existence. Yet even in such extremity, he notes something miraculous, the ability to choose, not to surrender, not to give up one's inner dignity. He identifies 3 phases in a prisoner's psychological journey: initial shock, emotional numbing, and post-liberation trauma. In the beginning, there is disbelief, even hope that things may not be as bad as rumored. But soon, that hope is crushed. Everything is taken: clothes, names, families. All that remains is what Frankl calls naked existence. As emotional defenses kick in, apathy takes over. It is not indifference, but a necessary shield against relentless cruelty. People stop reacting to beatings or deaths. Survival becomes the only concern. Dreams are filled with bread and warm baths, and fairness in bread rations becomes a matter of life and death. But even in that spiritual desolation, Frankl finds small sanctuaries: love, faith, art, and humor. He recalls the power of holding on to the image of his wife, even without knowing if she was still alive. He finds strength in prayer, in conversations about war, and in sunsets behind barbed wire. A single blossom on a twig becomes a message from life itself. Even jokes among inmates offer a few seconds of psychological survival. Most powerfully, Frankl insists that there's one freedom no one can take: the freedom to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. He observed men who, though starving and brutalized, still shared their bread, still comforted others. These were not superhumans. They were people who refused to let their humanity be destroyed. When the camps were finally liberated, the expected joy did not arrive. Instead, there was emotional numbness, disbelief, and deep disorientation. Many survivors returned to find no family, no home, no recognition of their suffering. Some fell into bitterness. Others, morally unmoored, became oppressors themselves. But Frankl concludes that the ultimate triumph of the survivor is this: after all that he has suffered, he has nothing left to fear, except his God. The second part of the book presents Frankl's logotherapy, a form of existential therapy focused on meaning. Against Freud with the pleasure and Adler's will to power, Frankl proposes the will to meaning as the primary drive of human beings. Without it, we fall into what he calls the existential vacuum, marked by depression, aggression, and addiction. He outlines 3 paths to discover meaning: through work, creating something; through love or experience, connecting deeply with others or with beauty; and through suffering, when it is unavoidable. If pain cannot be avoided, we must face it with courage, transforming it into a personal achievement. Meaning, in this light, is not something we wait for. It is something we create. Frankl's therapeutic methods are both profound and practical. Paradoxical intention, for instance, helps patients overcome fears by encouraging them to intentionally do what they fear, thus disarming the anxiety. Dereflection involves turning one's focus outward, away from obsessive self-examination, toward greater cause or another person. At the heart of healing, says Frankl, lies self-transcendence. He also introduces a concept of super meaning, a transcendent level of purpose that may lie beyond human understanding. Instead of demanding to grasp every reason for life's pain, we must sometimes accept the mystery, while still trusting that meaning exists. Man's search for meaning does not tell us that life is easy, nor that suffering is noble, but it insists that suffering can be transformed into meaning if we face it with dignity. As Frankl writes, to suffer unnecessarily is masochistic, not heroic. Yet, when suffering is inevitable, we can find meaning through how we bear it. This book is like a candle lit in a dark cave. It does not eliminate all darkness, but offers just enough light to keep moving forward. Frankl teaches that happiness cannot be chased. It is a side effect of devoting oneself to a purpose greater than the self. When we give ourselves to a cause or to another person, happiness and fulfillment arise, not as goals, but as companions on a journey. He leaves us with a powerful moral challenge. Since Auschwitz, we know what humans are capable of, but we also know what they can endure and how noble they can be. Each of us, every day, must choose. Will we be among the kind or the unkind? Meaning is not something we passively discover. It's something we actively choose. If you have ever felt lost, if you've ever questioned whether life is worth living, read Man's Search for Meaning. It won't give you easy answers, but will offer something even more powerful, a reason to keep going.